She's calm, cool, and collected. 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 This is what I have to do to calm myself down before I start these lives because I'll be so anxious. Anytime I start these lives, I always feel awkward because I feel like I'm just talking to myself, especially if nobody's watching yet, nobody's in the chat. So forgive me for my awkwardness. Let me take another sip of water so I don't lose my voice. If you cannot hear me, please let me know in the chat. If you can hear me, feel free to say hi. I'll try to say hi back. And if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not new here, welcome back. 1 second, guys. But again, if you cannot hear me through the mic, please let me know. And if you can hear me, just say hi. So yeah, today's message is about how positive thinking and faith go hand in hand. What inspired this message was, I'm gonna be real, I was going through my own trial and tribulation. I was having my own battle because I was struggling with anxiety. I was worrying about the future, thinking about all these negative what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? And I don't know what it was, but something stopped me in my tracks in that moment. And I randomly thought about the fact that the positive sign is the same as the cross. It's pretty much the same as the cross. Only the cross is slightly higher. It's slightly higher than the positive sign, but they're pretty much the same. And then that got me to ask myself, does God want us to think negatively or does God want us to think positively? Obviously, He wants us to think positive because God is the light. So when we think positive, we're closer to God because we're walking by faith. And faithfulness is one of the fruits of the Spirit. And it's crazy that even though I was in the midst of worrying and thinking negative and having all these negative thoughts about the future and worrying about the outcome of certain things, even in that moment, I was able to be like, it's pretty ironic that the positive sign is the same as the cross. Because then I'm like, Kyla, would Jesus want you to be worrying? Would He want you to be thinking negative? No, He would want you to be thinking positive and having faith about the situation. Because I'm going to be real. God has blessed me in a lot of ways. And I would say over the past couple months, God has turned my life around in the most prosperous way. He's turned a lot of things around in my life. However, there is one area in my life involving my family. I don't really want to get into it because that's our business. But there is one area in my life, and it's really my family. That's the area of my life that I've been praying about for years. And things, unfortunately, haven't gotten better. That's the one area in my life that still, I don't have any peace in that area in my life. It's stressful. So sometimes because of that, I I start getting into this I just started getting into this deep, dark mindset, like where everything is just doom and gloom. Things are never going to change. Things are never going to work out, blah, blah, blah. And I have to ask myself, what force, if you were to say which force, the positive force, aka God, or the negative force, aka the devil, if you were to say which one of those forces are these thoughts coming from? Obviously, they're coming from the enemy. They're coming from the dark force. And here's the thing, just because you think positive doesn't mean you're never going to feel negative emotions. Just because you think positive doesn't mean you're never going to feel negative. But it's important not to feed into the negative thoughts that come with those feelings. Whenever you have a negative feeling or a negative emotion, don't feed into the negative thoughts that a lot of times come with those feelings and emotions. Don't feed into it. No matter what, that's walking by faith. That's walking by faith. Always having a glass half full mentality. Always being able to look at the glass as half full. Even when you feel negative. Even when you are struggling with your faith, even if you are worried. Don't give into the thoughts that come with those feelings. You have to affirm the opposite. You have to affirm positivity over your life. You have to speak positivity over your life. Anytime you have a negative thought about the future, something that hasn't even happened yet, always know that's the devil. That's not God talking to you. That's not God speaking to you. So you have to do everything in your power to fight that. And you fight that by always having a half glass full mentality. Always looking at the glass as half full. Always trying to find the positive in things. Always believing for a positive outcome. Why is it so easy for us to believe in a negative outcome, but it's so hard for us to believe in a positive outcome? It's like we subconsciously don't think we deserve better. We subconsciously don't think we're worthy of the things that we pray and hope for. And again, that's the devil making you feel that way. That's not God. You always have to have a glass half full mentality because God can turn anything around. God can turn anything around. The definition of faith, since we're talking about faith, let's actually go over the definition. The definition of faith is complete trust and confidence or strong belief in a person or a thing without proof. Let me read that again because I kind of messed up the words. But let me read it again. The definition of faith is complete trust, confidence, or strong belief in someone or something without proof. See, that's the problem. A lot of times we base our faith or lack thereof on our circumstances. We base whether or not we have faith on if things are going our way or not. If things aren't going our way, everything is falling apart, we don't have faith. But when things are going our way and things are easy and we're getting everything we want, we have faith. Guess what? That's not real faith. That's not real faith in God. That's you having faith in your circumstances. Let's say you got a lot of money. You got 20, 30, 40,000 in the bank. And you're like, yeah, the Lord always provides for me. I have faith in God. And once that money, something happens to where you lose that money. You don't have faith in God anymore. Oh God, I don't know why you let this happen, but I thought you had faith. You only have faith because you had the money to rely on. You weren't really relying on God. You were relying on the amount of money you had in your bank account. But you thought you were relying on God because the money was there. You had the money. So, but when you lost the money, your mentality changed. Now you struggling with your faith. You doubting if God is real. You doubting that God gonna make a way for you and provide for you. And I know because I've been there. I'm really speaking from experience. And just as much as I'm giving y'all this message and I'm preaching to y'all, I'm honestly also preaching to myself because, like I said, God has blessed me abundantly in so many areas. However, it's this one area that I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it feels like my prayers are falling on deaf ears. And I've been struggling with my faith with that. But then I had to remind myself, Kyla, if you have faith in God, that means no matter how long you've been praying for things to turn around with your family, no matter how long you've been praying, no matter if things have gotten worse since you first started praying about it, you still got to have faith that God can turn things around at any given moment. That's real faith. That's why we really have to humble ourselves, because sometimes we can get a little spoiled when everything is going our way. Oh, God is good. I love God. God take care of me. I'm God's favorite. Blah blah blah. I hate when people say that. I hate when people say I'm God's favorite. No, you're not. That's that superiority. You're not superior to anybody. Only God is superior. We're all God's children, and He loves all of us equally. But we all have different lessons, different tests, different plans, different paths for our lives. So that's another thing. We got to stop comparing ourselves to other people. You got to stop comparing yourselves to other people that might have it better than you, that might not. I think about this with myself, because I'm not gonna lie, when it comes to my family situation, I'll be like, Lord, why? I didn't ask to be born into the family I was born into. I didn't ask to be born to the parents I was born into. It's not fair. Why can't I just have normal parents? Like almost everybody I know got normal parents, like decent parents. Me on the other hand, I'm the parent. So I'm like, Lord, why? It's not fair. But it's like, as much as I don't like to admit it, I know that if God put me in this position, if He allowed me to be born into this, and I am the one that people look to for guidance or for help or to pick up the pieces, I definitely feel like I'm that person in my family, in my immediate family. I'm the one that has it all together. I'm the one that people come to when they need something. And I ain't gonna lie, I don't like it. I don't like it because it feels like it's sometimes it just is too much for me to carry. But I know if God put me in this position, He equipped me for it. And there's a reason for it. So as much as I don't like it, I'm gonna accept whatever challenges God feels I need to have. Because I know He has a plan. And I just have to trust that. We all have to trust God's plan for us. It's not just me. I'm sure if you're watching this video right now, I'm sure you've been struggling with your faith. I'm sure you've been having some trials and tribulations. Questioning if God is there. Questioning if God cares. Questioning if He's going to turn things around. So I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for people who feel like me, who are in a similar situation as me. People who are struggling with their faith, struggling not just with their faith, but with their thinking. Always thinking the negative, always thinking the worst, always thinking the worst case scenario. We got to stop that because God does not want us thinking like that. Constantly, oh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do that. The economy, oh, I'm just going to, oh, I never. God does not want you thinking like that. That's not godly. To truly be godly is to walk by faith and to trust God and to be positive, even when life is throwing so much negativity at you. You gotta think positive. If you want positive things to happen, you gotta think positively about your life. If you want positivity, you gotta think positive. If you constantly thinking negative, you're gonna get more negative. And you might be saying, well, I think positive and things don't change. So is it better to just start thinking negative then? Do you think thinking negative is going to make things change for the better? Absolutely not. It's going to make things worse. I know from experience. Trust me. It's like you worrying about one thing and you constantly thinking the worst, and then that happens. And then it's like literally it's just a cycle over and over and over. One bad thing after another. And I'm going to be real. Sometimes you can be doing everything right, You can be being obedient to God. You can have strong faith in God. And you can still have periods in your life where it's one thing after another, L after L after L, loss after loss after loss, constantly losing things. And you might be doing everything right. It may not be because you're thinking negatively. You might be constantly thinking positively and trying to push through and persevere and trust God. And things can still be hitting you back to back, left and right. Guess what? Even in those moments, you got to still think positive. If you want better, you got to think better for yourself. If you want positivity in your life, you got to think positively about your life. As much as I'm preaching this to y'all, I'm preaching this to myself as well because, again, if you're new here, I have an anxiety disorder. That's why my voice shakes and cracks sometimes. It's been like that since I was a kid. And one of my friends, she was like, "You have a shaky voice." And I was like, "No, I don't." I was so offended, but it's like, "Kyla, you do." And the reason why is because you have an anxiety disorder. And it's okay. But I'm saying this as a person who struggles with all the things that I'm talking about right now. That's why I said this message isn't just for me. It's not just for y'all, it's for me too. It's like God preaching to me through me, if that makes sense. He does that a lot because sometimes I'll be like preaching to myself and then I'll be like, where did that come from? Because I don't feel like I was wise enough to like say everything I just said, but I know it comes from God. But one final thing, I'm gonna say this one final thing. God is greater than your circumstances. God is greater than your debt. God is greater than your bills. God is greater than your anxiety. Let me say it again. God is greater than your circumstances. God is greater than your debt. I'm saying this as somebody who I was just in like $14,000 worth of credit card debt. I've never had that much debt in my life, especially not credit card debt. $14,000 in credit card debt. Not because I was being irresponsible, it's because I was getting hit left and right. And I ain't gonna lie, there was a point in time I was a little worried because I'm like, Lord, I don't know how I'm gonna pay all this off. Like, I'm scared to even swipe the card. Like I'm scared, but at the same time, I don't have a choice. Like I need to use like my resources. And I kid you not. I'm gonna make a separate video about this, but I kid you not. I ended up getting a settlement over the past month. I ended up getting a settlement that was able to completely wipe out all that credit card debt. Mind you, I still have a lot more money left over on top of paying $14,000 in credit card debt. I still have a lot of money left over from the settlement. And that was God. And somebody be like, oh no, that wasn't God. You just got a settlement. No, it was God because I don't want to give too much away because, like I said, I'm going to make a separate video, but I'll give y'all a little sneak peek. I had a dream that I got into a car accident. When I woke up from the dream, I was like, and I was like, oh, thank God it was just a dream. But then I started worrying because I'm like, Lord, I know some of my dreams be prophetic. Like, please don't let me get into a car accident. I pray this dream does not come true. And right after that, I told myself, I was like, I'm going to drive super careful. I'm going to make sure I don't hit anybody. Guess what? I didn't hit anybody, but somebody ended up hitting me. Probably like a couple months after I had that dream. And at the time when it happened, I felt like it was the worst thing that could have happened to me. I was so angry at God. Like, why would you give me a dream and then allow it to happen in real life and I can't do anything to stop it? Like, why did you let this happen? I was so angry with God at the time. I didn't understand why He allowed that. But now that I'm on the other side and I'm reaping the reward for my suffering, now I understand. He was setting me up for He was setting me up for abundance and prosperity, all the things I've been praying about. I just had to suffer. Before I got to that point, I had to go through some suffering. I had to trust the process. So, yeah, again, God is greater than your debt. God is greater than your circumstances. God is greater than your bills. God is greater than the economy. God is greater than your anxiety. God is greater than your fears. If you truly a believer, it's not just believing God exists, it's believing God's power. And that's something I'm sure as believers we all need to work on, because I'm sure no matter how much you love God and you have faith, you're a human at the end of the day, and life is hard. Living on this planet is very challenging. So we all have our moments, but you have to pull yourself out of that and remember who you serve. It's really all about the art of surrendering. The art of surrendering. And I'm saying this as a person who has had to surrender so much in the past 2 years. I've lost so much, and guess what? God didn't just double it. God didn't just quadruple it. God didn't just double it or triple it. He quadrupled it. He gave me not only what I lost, but 4 times what I lost. Even when it came to my love life, I was single for 3 years. Didn't even go on a date, wasn't entertaining people, none of that. I was completely single for 3 years. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm never going, like, there's nobody out there for me. I'm never going to find real love. Like, this man that I'm thinking of and just wanting him to be all these things and have all these traits and just like, there ain't no man out there that exists like that. And guess what? It was when I least expected it. When I least expected it, I meet the man. And he's not perfect, just like I'm not perfect. I have a past, he has a past, right? But who he is today, the man that I know, 10 out of 10. Everything I prayed for, he possesses, he is. And like I said, there was a point in time where I'm like, man, this is never going to happen for me. Like, I'm delusional. Like, I might as well just get comfortable being alone, maybe get another cat and just find peace with being by myself. But again, that was God. So, yeah. Hopefully, this message spoke to you. If it did, please make sure you like it for the algorithm and make sure you're subscribed so I can see you again. Oh, speaking of which, hi guys. I haven't even said hi to anybody. I have severe crippling anxiety. I do too, believe it or not. That's why my voice be shaking and cracking so much. It's been like that since I was a kid, and people used to make fun of me. People would be like, "What's wrong with you? You sound like you're about to cry." I'm like, I always sound like I'm about to cry, but I'm not. That's just, yeah, but I completely relate to you. You saying you have severe crippling anxiety, so do I. But guess what? That don't stop me. That's one thing I can say about myself. Even though I'll be terrified, at the same time, I have a lot of courage. I have a lot of balls. That's one thing I can say about myself. I'm like, I don't give a damn. I'm not letting my anxiety control me. Yes, I do have anxiety, but guess what? It don't have me. It don't have me. I'ma still fight through it. Um, but yeah. Hi guys. Bye guys. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe. By the way, I'm not going to be going on next Sunday because I'm going back to my hometown for the weekend. So, unfortunately, I won't see you guys next Sunday. But I'm thinking about going live on Tuesday, next Tuesday. But we'll see. Stay tuned. Bye.